Hey guys, welcome back to Home Tool, and today I am going to try my darndest to get this thing started. Alright, so I've spent a fair bit of time the last few days trying to work out where my electrical gremlins are, pulling apart a lot of the wiring, checking continuity, and it's such a headache. I really hate wiring. But I am narrowing things down. Next thing I'm going to have a look at is my distributor. I'm going to pull it apart, give it a good clean, and just make sure that everything is connected up and looks nice and tidy. And I know there's a magnet in here that can get damaged and broken, so I'm going to check that that's good and just give it a general going over. Well, I'd say that is a lot of my problem right there. This magnet is busted into a bunch of different pieces. It's just, it's cracked and broken all the way around, so it looks like I need to get a new magnet before I do anything else, because this is not going to work with this magnet. Alright, I've been messing around with that other distributor for a while and just bashing my head up against the wall. It's not working. The magnet is broken, so it's potentially not working because of that. I've changed over the igniter, and that doesn't seem to have made any difference, so it's still not getting any spark. So I've just spent the last few hours doing research and messing around, and I've swapped back over to the points distributor that I actually had sitting here. So I do have a points distributor. So I'm going to connect that up now. Just the thing is I don't have a ballast resistor, and I believe that it should still work without a ballast resistor, but it'll burn out the coil pretty quickly. Basically, the ballast resistor reduces the voltage going through the standard system so that it doesn't burn out and it actually lasts longer. In my case, because I'm not going to be running it to get it hot, I'm just going to be seeing if I get a spark. Let's give it a go. I've connected it all up. I've changed all the wiring here so that it's much simpler with the distributor. With the regular points distributor. Basically it gets its earth through the body of the distributor, and when the points touch together, it sends the ground signal through to the negative side of the coil, and the positive side of the coil is just connected to the ignition. So it's quite simple. Let's give this a go. Fingers crossed I can get it working. I mean, this is the wrong type of coil as well. Like the whole thing is not right, but I just want to see if I've got spark. Let's just try it. Yes, we have spark. There is something to be said for simple, and at least setting everything else aside, the old style distributor is simple and it works. I definitely need to do something. I need to look into exactly what I'm going to do moving forward, because this is not going to work well with this engine. The issues it has, it doesn't have any vacuum advance. You can't do the vacuum advance on these carbies. These carbies don't even have chokes. Do you know what? I might just try and start it. Let's just see if it'll turn over. Let's put the spark plugs in and just for a second. It can't hurt, can it? Now with all my playing around, the fuel pump's not working, but I'm pretty sure there should be plenty of fuel in the float bowls to get me going, I hope. So I just want to turn it over, just hear it run for a couple of seconds, and that's it. So let's collect up some spark plugs and give it a go. Fingers crossed. Wait a minute. I didn't connect up the coil again. coil's now connected again. Let's see. That was no spark. Oh! Oh! Hey! Yeah! Yeah, it runs! Woohoo! Geez, that stinks. Yes! A car that actually starts and runs. And an engine that I built. Woohoo! Okay, there's a long way to go, but it actually started! Yeah! Oh, that's such a relief. It actually starts, it actually runs. There's still a long way to go yet with sorting this wiring mess out because there's just so many bits and pieces that have been added onto over the years and it's just a headache. But that is a big step in the right direction. So moving on from that, I suppose something I can do now that I've been meaning to do is it's probably not a bad idea to get some air filters onto it, because if I'm going to actually run it, I don't want to be sucking in too much stuff. I've been I know there's a few of you been commenting about, quick, put something over the ITBs. I haven't been super worried about it because they are actually horizontal. If they were vertical, I'd be much more concerned. There's not a lot of stuff that's going to fall into them on the side there, but I think I've got some filters here, so let's look at fitting some of them. Alright, so I've got myself some of these K&N air filters. They actually bolt straight onto these carbies. The only drawback is these particular bell mounts don't quite fit inside the filter housing. Basically, they bolt on inside, something along like that, but this outer edge just touches on the filter. So I need to trim back the outer edge of these just to get them to fit properly. That's what the local rally expert ends and uses regularly. So I'm going to follow his advice and start modifying these to fit. All right, and they are now trimmed up. It's unfortunate I had to trim them, but it's the only way to get them to fit nicely. I've got a nice smooth edge on it now, so they'll fit in there nicely and fit my filter. So now it's time to get the gaskets out and refit the filters all up and see how that looks. So now the car is actually running and I've done my filters and stuff now. I'm just working my way through and trying to sort out this mess of wiring. So I've been playing around with it all morning. I've managed to install the brake light switch, so I have one tail light that works. I don't know why the other one is, but it's probably something simple, either a globe or dodgy connection. That's easy enough to trace down. I now have the headlights connected where the headlights will actually work, but for some reason there's a switch they added underneath the dash, which is the high beam switch. I don't know where the original high beam switch was on these old Zs, but they've got it on a toggle, and the driver's side, right hand side, actually the high beams, low beams work. The passenger side, the headlight globe for some reason is really dim. I don't know whether it could be a bad earth or something. I'm just going to double check all that and see if that's all working properly. But it's on, it's just not dim. But they won't turn off. So I've had to disconnect the earth down here to make sure that they turn off. So it's a matter of working through the switches, just doing lots and lots of tracing lines and finding out where things go and trying to get the wiring sorted. Okay, so I've gone through, I've sorted out my brake lights. I've got one damaged brake light globe, but there's power going through, so the brake lights work. There's one thing. The indicators, I found out I'm actually missing the blinker unit that's supposed to be on the dash. That's the reason why I don't have indicators at the moment. One of the things I'm battling is that I believe this is a 260Z stalk setup, and I'm obviously in a 240Z, so they don't plug in. This is the wiper mount and to this, and I'm guessing because this has got multiple levels of intermittent wipers, etc. I assume the 240 probably has less options there, so I've made up this little connector to connect from the 240 plug, and then I can individually pin it to the 260 plug, because the 260 plug's a little 9-pin outlet, and the 240 plug is these 6-pin one. Thankfully, like I mentioned the other day, the super cheap auto, just their off-the-shelf 6-pin connectors plug directly into the old 240Z ones. They're the exact same type of connector. The 2-pin, they're all the same, which is fantastic because it makes it so easy. I just made up one end. It plugs into the old loom, and then I've got these individual connectors now that I'll be able to connect up to the individual wires and join it all together without making a big mess. Alright, that has been several hours now of painful wiring, trying to trace things down, and I've had enough for now. I'm going to leave that mess for the time being. I've got a good portion of things sorted out. One of the big issues I have is a 260Z column, not a 240Z, so it's not the same. And trying to get everything to line up and work is, yeah, I need to get a 260Z wiring diagram, which I can get. I just need to have a break and move on to something else. So I'm going to get all these trim bits that I painted up last week. I'm going to start fitting them up to the car and getting the last of the cosmetic bits onto the car. Okay, well, I've reassembled the steering wheel now. It is ready to go back in. I still have a bunch more wiring to do on the car. It's driving me crazy and it's just tedious. That's definitely got to be, yeah, the most annoying part of this build, but I'm getting there slowly. I'm sort of working out what I need, what I don't. Yeah, it's a headache. Ooh. Haha! While I was just doing that, I've just noticed this other wiring harness I've got here. I think I've got a second wiring harness for a 240Z here from Zach. And this one, I'm pretty sure this thing is the indicator clicker. So that's another bit I can mark off the list. How good is that? Anyway, that is such a huge milestone. I got the car started. Oh, yes. Oh, such a big move in the right direction. We are getting so much closer to the first drive. I've still got some interior bits left to deal with, as well as obviously the rest of the running stuff. Obviously, I've got to finish off the distributor connections and get that ballast resist to get the correct coil. I've got I noticed that the fuel pump's leaking slightly, so I've got to go on and tackle that. There's a little bit of that leak on the radiator. A few bits and pieces I've still got to tackle to just button it down, but we are close to driving this thing. In any case, if you want to help us out and watch these videos a day earlier than everybody else, you can head down to the link in the description, join our Patreons. Thank you very much to the patrons who are already there. It really helps us out. Particularly with some of these big projects I have coming up. Anyway, that's it, and we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.